About 20 Israeli fighter jets bombed numerous Houthi targets in Yemen in response to the ballistic missile attack that hit near Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion Airport. Well, former IDF Staff Sergeant Jonny Daniels joins us now from Tel Aviv. So, Jonny, what can you tell us about these strikes?
Well, look, unfortunately, it got to a point where Israel had to hit back. There wasn't a question of the fact that Israel needed to make a very strong statement here. These attacks from these Houthis are becoming a lot, and they've got to a point where Israel had to step up. The United States has been good and strong at attacking the Houthis, but Israel needed to make that point as well. And what we still saw earlier today was this very, very strong attack of Israel on multiple sites in certain areas and specific areas throughout Yemen, connected to the Houthis that were used for terror activities. And, we have to be very clear that this is just the start of it. Prime Minister Netanyahu was very, very clear yesterday that in addition to the Houthis, they're terror masters, they're puppet masters, they're people pulling the strings. The Iranians will also be on our targets as well, and definitely rightly so.
So I think for a lot of folks, especially here in the West, it's very confusing because Hamas is right on Israel's doorsteps, Hezbollah right on the border in Lebanon, Jabhat al-Nusra, ISIS, whatever, right on the border with Syria. But Yemen is like 1,300 miles away. So can you just explain, why are the Houthis attacking Israel?
The Houthis are nuts. I mean, there's no question of it. This is a group of people, the terrorists, who are really in a failing country. Yemen is a country that is experiencing unbelievable poverty. People literally don't have shoes in Yemen. And these terror groups, like the Houthis, provided by the Iranians, are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars per time shooting missiles towards Israel, where they could be feeding their people. They, for whatever reason, have decided that they want to join on in this fight, want to support their Palestinian brothers in their fight against us, and this is the battle that we're facing.
So I've been following you on Instagram for years now. There's probably no one I know who's more up to date on what's happening right now in the Middle East. And I know you posted maybe 24 hours ago, whenever the attack happened, that a bunch of airlines have stopped their service to Tel Aviv because of the ballistic missile that the Houthis shot at, right next to Ben Gurion Airport. Is there any update on that? Are those airlines coming back, or do you think this is a new norm where the airplanes coming in and out of Tel Aviv are going to have to be cognizant of ballistic missiles from Yemen?
No, look, I think that most foreign airlines obviously pulled on the day out of fear and concern and worry about what could be. Almost every airline has said that they're going to pause for the next day or two, obviously the non-Israeli airlines. But I believe that the vast majority will be back on schedule within the next few days. But just to make this point even clearer, this isn't a nothing issue, right? 15,000 Israelis are stranded outside of Israel at the moment because they had flights booked from the States, from Delta and other airlines and United, who cancelled flights and have no way of getting home to their families. And it's a major problem, and obviously it impacts tourism. People understandably could get a little bit nervous about traveling. There is no need to be nervous. This is also a very important point that, this missile hit in the vicinity, but it did not hit the airport itself. It did not hit any runways. It did not hit any aircraft. It nothing of the sort. And all aircraft receive information that there is an incoming missile and move very, very, very far out of the way. So there's no fear of anything like that.
Right. Well, I know it's extraordinarily late in Israel, like 1 o'clock in the morning. You're always awake. I knew I could find you just because you're always updating the world as to what's happening. So let me ask you this one last question. And I know you don't have a crystal ball, but we just did a story a few hours ago about how Israel approved, a massive offensive back into Gaza with tens of thousands of troops. It seems like the Israeli military is being spread a little thin. Do you see a quote-unquote head-on collision between Israel and the Houthis, or is this kind of more of a tennis racket back and forth annoyance, or could this turn into something bigger?
No, look, first of all, the IDF definitely isn't being spread thin. We're incredibly strong, and we have all of what we need and the resources, especially now with the change of administration and with President Trump in office. Israel is incredibly strong, and the IDF is incredibly strong. When it comes to the Houthis, look, at the end of the day, you're a difficult enemy to fight because they hide. They hide amongst a civilian population, and the United States Air Force and other forces from the United States have been hitting them for a very long time, and also not particularly, successfully to a degree. However, they still are always going to have these missiles. What we have to do is eventually take the head of the snake, which is Iran, and make sure that they stop getting missiles sent to them and brought to them, because the Houthis are not smart enough to be building those themselves. They're sent to them from the Iranians.
Well, Jonny, thank you so much for the update, my friend.
Thank you so much.